Good afternoon, Christchurch, Cheltenham. When we arrive in Cheltenham, and surely it can't be long now, you'll meet my wife Jill, our children Katie, youngest, Benjamin, and Christopher, our eldest, who lives with his wife Megan in Sheffield. When Christopher was at university, he took a degree in history, focusing particularly on the history of maps. He was map obsessed. I don't know if you have any interest in maps at all, but if you've ever looked at a map of America in particular, I'm sure you'll have noticed quite quickly how there are some familiar place names in the United States. Cambridge, Portsmouth, Manchester, York, Cheltenham. I'm sure we could quite easily point out where those places are on a map of the UK. A little bit more difficult when they're in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Maine, Pennsylvania. So why did the early settlers in America name their towns after places in England? After all, wasn't England the place that they were fleeing from? Wouldn't it have made more sense to name these places something entirely different? A new home with a new name? Perhaps having some kind of familiarity, even if it was memories of a place that you were glad to have left, was really important. These early settlers couldn't just change their mind to go back to where they had come from. That would have involved a journey of weeks, months. Just not an option. I guess, though, for them, it was in human nature that they go back to what they know. For us, that might be ordering the same meal in a restaurant every time we visit, rewatching a much-loved film, sitting in the same pew at church week after week. We are not just creatures of habit. We can feel a sense of safety with the familiar. I guess we all have had our ideas of what safety looks like being challenged somewhat over the last few weeks, and it looks very much like that challenge will continue. I wonder, though, if we see God as being safe. And if we do, is that a fair understanding? In The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, the author C.S. Lewis writes of a meeting between the four children, heroes of the story, and Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, who describe to the children what the lion of the title of the book is like. Is he safe? Asks one of the children. Safe? Comes the reply. Who said anything about being safe? Of course he isn't safe. But he's good. He's the king, I tell you. For Lewis, the lion represents Jesus, and those words could just easily have been written about him. Because although there is absolute safety in the arms of God, that doesn't make God safe. But following him is the most rewarding, life-affirming, life-fulfilling choice we can make.